Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. We are reciting verse number 57 from the chapter Al-Baqarah, second chapter of the Holy Book of Quran. This verse is saying like this: Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. In this verse, as it is another episode of those events which were happening when this caravan of Moses with the people of Jewish, they started their journey towards the land of Palestine, or their own land which was promised to them, a promised land that they were to go there and live there. Actually, this land of Palestine, it was the land from where they had migrated to Egypt when Prophet Joseph was there, and he was part of the government and the part of that kingdom of Egypt at the time. And he had called all of his family from Palestine to join him there in Egypt, and they lived there for almost 400 years. And they, after a while, after the demise of Prophet Yusuf, they had a very miserable life, and all calamities and all those hardships were put upon them, and they cried to Allah for a deliverer, and Allah sent Moses as a deliverer to them. And now Allah gave this message to Moses to go to Pharaoh and deliver your people from his captivity. After so much of that process of talking and having those meeting and different kind of contests between Moses and the magician of Pharaoh and all those things, after all, they could manage to escape from Egypt. And after escaping, they were caught in between that river, and behind them the army of Pharaoh. And Allah set a miracle here and parted the river and gave them a way to cross. They crossed from that river, and all the folk of Pharaoh were drawn there by the power of Allah. And now these people are out of that river, and they have escaped from the army of Pharaoh, and now they are released, and they are marching towards the promised land now. They are, of course, here all these events are told here almost chronologically and sequentially. And now this is another episode of the happenings that happened during this march. These people were traveling and forwarding towards their goal and where they want to go. And in this between, there was a desert, there is a desert, and they were to cross that desert, and the sun was shining very directly, and it was annoying, and it was making much harder to march and go. So they asked Moses, somehow they imposed upon Moses, because they did not request. They always pushed it, and they with pressure they asked their demands, and they obtained their demands. And they said to Moses that we are in such a hardship, and we cannot endure more than this, and we cannot travel, and we cannot march ahead if this is the condition, and we have to march under this direct sunshine, and it teases us so much. So Allah gave another blessing to them, and set clouds over their head so that they can make shade, and this shade was running with them as they forwarded and had their walk towards the promised land. The clouds were shadowing them, and they were in the shadow of that cloud and were protected from the harm of sunshine. Yeah. So here Allah is telling of that story, وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ, and O children of Israel, remember we gave that shadow of those clouds upon you, and it was a miracle, and this was a big blessing from Allah to them. وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ, and after this is very shortly, Allah said it very brief and then passed it to the next step, and another episode of the same journey. Another big event that happened during this, when they were in the desert, and in the desert naturally no food, no water, nothing, and they were a big number of people, like as they have said, they were like 600,000 or maybe less and more. So it's a big number of people, and they want food, they want water, they want so many needs of the life, and the basic need is food. Otherwise nobody can revive, nobody can live without food for a longer time. And while they were traveling, they needed more food than the regular time, because traveling causes so much of need of energy, and it needs power to walk and to endure those hardships of the traveling. So they demanded food. So what happened? They could not cultivate it now, and they could not grow it there, because they could not stay there. They have to travel, they are to go forward, they have to march it and cross that land. So what is the remedy for that? What is cure? How to deal with this situation? So another again Allah comes with his blessings and gave them food, and this food was containing two things: a sweet part of it and a savor part of it, both of them, as they were and though it is told by the people of scripture that these were quails as birds, as a meat, that they could catch them very easily. Every evening there were so many birds came to their camps, and they were sitting there, and they could catch as they wanted, and as much as they wanted to catch them and have them, and then cook them and eat them. And also another thing that was called salwa, there was a kind of grain type thing, like something like mushroom or the same as that one, maybe. We cannot say, but whatever it is explained by the people of scripture. And this is another we can say it is one of those we can say lack of goodness in the favor of Muslim, that most of the Quran or many of the ayat are explained and interpreted by the people of scripture as they wanted to say, as they thought of the book and of the religion. They brought it, all those things, in the culture of Muslims, and Muslim accepted that, all those stories and all those things that they brought in, and then they put it in the book. And now Muslims book are interpreter and all those books that are explaining and giving meaning and translation, all of those are done by the inspiration or the direct involvement of those stories that were told by people of scripture, Jewish and Christians. So here this meaning that the birds were quail and the things which grew from the earth and land, or it was there when they woke up from the sleeping in the morning. They found all around them something is grown over the maybe stone, over their camps, wood or other things, and they collected it as they needed it, and then they used it as a food. And how they used it, we don't have any so much of explanation for that. But they had enough food and they were satisfied in this aspect, and they could manage their hunger, and they traveled. So Allah is telling here that وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. Anzalna means we should inshallah in the coming ayat maybe we give the meaning of anzalna. But here we say that this was something that was ordered by Allah. Anzalna, we can say it means something that is given an order by Allah, and that is anzalna. And this anzalna is used in so many verses with this meaning, that is an order from Allah that is given, and thing happen. Is something like kun fayakun, and that is anzalna. Nazalna have another meaning that we will tell when it comes to that verse. Allah is saying here, وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. Manna wa salwa was that food that was given to them at that time. Allah is saying to them, Kulu min tayyibat ma razaqnakum. And O people, we have given you all these things, but take only that is tayyib. That tayyib also, here we don't have such length of time to give meaning of that, but tayyib, that it can mean whatever you like and whatever it is pure. Both of them, both meaning can be included in that, and they are meant in different ayat in the same context. Here, after saying this and reminding this, Allah is including this phrase of the ayah and say, وَمَا ظَلَمُونَ. Here they did some unjust. What was that? Allah is not mentioning that. There was some unjust action from the people. What was that? whether they that was so many demands that they made, or the action of unjust action that they were every time, every other time they bring some thing that they which showed that they are not so much good people. But Allah is saying whatever they are doing unjust to themselves, and they are not harming us. All the thing that they are harming is themselves, and they are doing that. وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا, they could not make unjust to us. وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ, all what they were doing unjust and ungodliness and wrongdoing and wronging, all those things were returning to themselves, and they were the one who were loser, and this did not harm us at all. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May Allah bless you all.